First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Here.
What is this?
Bravo. Now, Lee, did you do a morning stream?
I did do a morning stream.
So this is
I
double.
gotta carry the team on my back
I love
sometimes.
it. I love it. We will take your strength and intelligence at any time.
What are we talking about today, though? This is my first stream with you guys at 4 o'clock.
Well, I'm surprised both of you are actually inside right now because it's a beautiful
You're
day.
right.
I just got back inside.
Lots of sun out there. A warm day too. Temperatures up in the upper 70s, low 80s even for a lot of folks.
You go out there toward Baldwin. It's been 82.4 degrees for 4 hours in a row now.
That's getting a little warm.
That's where I want to be. I like that temperature.
Yeah, and you know, I just took a walk around downtown. It feels pretty darn close to 82 degrees. There's the airport, 80. Wow, what a rebound from this morning's 46.
It felt good this morning though. It didn't feel like a 46. If you know what I mean? I mean it did, but I feel like once the sun was out, you know.
No, it felt like
it felt a little
felt like a
warmer
good
than it
46.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't like.
So you were up
chill.
at 7 this morning.
I'm up at 7.
Walking to
every
Enzo?
morning. Oh yeah.
Or
you
Enzo
know
was
it.
walking you?
Well, yeah, that's more like it. He's just kind of tugging me along, leading me to where we want to go.
Now, Lee was
Wait, do you guys wear a jacket at that point? I mean, I kind of just went for it. I wore this. I wore the short sleeves because I knew I wouldn't need it later on this afternoon.
Are we talking about inside our building or just outside?
No, I'm talking about 40s in the morning outside. You know it's going to warm up. Do you bring
I've got
a
a
jacket
cut-off
with you?
sweatshirt and shorts. I rock that every morning.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a young man with lots of blood circulation. If I'm not running, I need a jacket.
Yeah.
But seriously, things have changed. Before I got my Medicare card, I did not need that, but now I do.
The amount of times I hear Tim mention his Medicare card in here, so proud of it.
Does that mean that the dates have changed on when you wear a wetsuit versus when you don't when you're serving?
I think a lot more about it than I used to. I have to admit, I feel somehow less tough, less manly, but I have to admit that I think way more about what the ocean temperature is, which is, by the way, the surf temperature made it back over 60 today and the river temperature 64.
Well, is that your cutoff? Is 60 and above when you ditch the wetsuit? No.
I mean, if you really...
Yeah, what is your threshold?
If you really are asking, my main, if I have a perfect morning, it's I run first. Okay. And if I run first and the sun is out, it's got to be pretty cold for me not to just go straight out. I don't go for long.
Then it doesn't really even matter to you.
Not
You'll
to
go
me,
in
not for
anyway.
the first 15, 20 minutes. Now, if I don't run first, it's a whole different gig, especially now that my wife doesn't like me to use this word for some reason. But since she's not here, but now that I'm older, yeah, I'm more sensitive that way.
Well, so we've covered...
I'm sorry we have digressed in
Yeah,
my
no, you're good.
thermodynamic
No,
sensitivities.
I asked about it too, and by the way, I don't judge. I wouldn't call that sensitive. I don't get in the water to swim until like the second half of June. That's when it's finally warm enough for me. So,
So sort of 80, 82?
yeah, exactly. Got to
That's in the sweet spot, I think.
As far as the water temperature.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we've talked, temperature-wise, we're in that 80 to 82 range for a lot of us. Dry air out there, not humid
Wow.
either, so it makes
Yeah.
it feel even more comfortable. You got dew points in the 30s and
I saw
40s.
NES Jacks this afternoon with the light breeze off the river was still down at 22%.
Wow.
For us, that is super dry.
Wow. And a little cooler there just out at the beaches and the coastline due to that very weak sea breeze kind of just rolling on in that east-southeast wind. So overall, beautiful day. I told Tim when the weather's a little bit slow, I'm going to try to work these in. So here is your fun fact for the day, Tim.
That's
this
like a
day
foot.
in weather history. Yeah, so
Wow.
third largest snowstorm ever to hit the Charlotte metropolitan area. Some places picked up over 20 inches of snow on this day in
Wow.
2004. So 21 years ago.
Wow.
This is crazy. We were just talking about swimming. It's warm here. It's hard to think about 20 inches of snow. Of course, it's still February, though, so thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
So since you did that, you did inspire me, and I was thinking about our beautiful day. So back in 1967, we did officially drop to 22.
Ooh.
And evidently we had a warmer winter, and so the potatoes were already doing their thing. Potatoes got major damage in Hastings. The azaleas, which had bloomed early, they were completely burnt. But gosh, nothing like 11.6
And this was 1967.
1967.
That might
Just
be
before you were born.
I was going to say, yeah, that might be a harder year for some of us to try and remember out there, too. So there was your little fun fact for the day. Nationally, stormiest spot across the U.S., up across kind of the Ohio River Valley, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic. This is actually the same system that's kind of been traversing from the Pacific Northwest all the way across the country. Yesterday, we talked about it bringing some rain to portions of the Dakotas,
Yeah, way up north.
Minnesota, Iowa. Now making its way through places like Columbus, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, seeing some rain, and even some snow there in some of the higher
It
elevations.
looks to
But
me like there's some rain making into some of the central Pennsylvania towns. You might know some of those smaller townships, Ross. Can you
some
name
of
a
those
few?
some of those ridges and valleys. Oh, the townships. You got
Yeah.
Fermanagh, Turbot.
Okay.
You want to say hi to mom and dad while you're talking about it?
No, I guarantee you they're not watching right now.
You don't know. Your dad is always watching. Be careful.
Yeah. So rain up there. Here, dry skies. Just kind of got some fair weather cumulus clouds rolling in across the southern part of the peninsula here, but otherwise, not a whole lot to be worried about today.
Very light winds. You know,
Or
since I
tomorrow.
brought your parents into it, I do have a question for Lee. I mean, perfect boating day. When
yes.
does dad take the boat out on weekdays at all?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And, I heard that my parents, they told me, I think it was last weekend, they went out on the boat. They said it was too cold. I walked to the farmer's market. It was perfect. Felt great on land. But when you add in, of course, we know it's cooler over the water, the breeze. It was a little too chilly for them. But I would bundle up and go for it. This weekend is going to be perfect for that.
And we'll get to the weekend forecast here in just a second. Let's get you through tomorrow. So I think a little bit more sunshine in the morning. You'll see a little bit of an increase in cloud cover by the afternoon. Still a pretty warm day. I think upper 70s for most, but still some low 80s could potentially roll on in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
Southwest
interesting
breeze.
to see because let's face it. I mean, to be honest, at least I wasn't thinking that officially we'd make it to 80 today. So although we're going to have more clouds tomorrow, I do wonder if, might we make it to 80, 81 officially. Comments, weather team? What do you
I
think?
forecasted 80 this morning.
Okay, there you
for
go.
tomorrow,
Lee got it.
We'll see.
Lee's calling them shots
Lee's-
out there.
Yeah, Lee got it.
We'll see. We'll see.
But this is kind of a warm surge, kind of ahead of a very weak cold front that's going to roll in tomorrow night. Good news for us, especially since the first half of the week has been kind of soggy and wet and rainy. No real rain expected with this, just those clouds that we mentioned through the late afternoon and evening tomorrow. And then behind it, a little bit of a cooler breeze for your Friday there, upper 60s. So a brief cool down, but still overall pretty nice way to wrap up the work
pretty
week
nice.
here.
And, I mean, to me, the main thing is the sun just continues to shine. Sunny today, sunny tomorrow, sunny Friday, and then here comes River Run Saturday. Woo!
Yeah, I'm gonna be out. Just kidding. I need both of y'all's opinions because both of you are runners. I even mentioned it this morning in our 10 a.m. stream. I said, to me, this looks like perfect running weather, but I am not a runner and I need to ask the runners later on this afternoon. Gave you both a shout out. Please tell me, how is this weather for running?
Well, in my opinion, yeah, it's pretty darn close to perfect. If you're talking about people who are runners, as in they're looking for their fastest times ever, to like the elite level, they probably would like to see it maybe stay in the 40s during the whole run. Of course, I realize now as I'm saying it, so the elite runners will finish before 9 o'clock. So both men and women, they're flying. But yeah, I personally think for the rest of us, especially because although it warms up to 60, the dew points are low. So I think it's pretty darn close for running for perfect. Ross hasn't done it before, but Ross still.
I was going to say,
you've done
he was
some
giving me
training.
so much credit considering me a runner. I've run for 2 months.
You're Hey,
That's way too much credit for me.
2 months at this point. You should know what you like. If it's too cold or too warm. I don't know. I don't like. Again, I don't run anymore. But when I didn't like the cold. I didn't like the way it made my throat burn. So I don't know. I was just going to ask you guys.
I will say my best run over my training was last week when the temperatures were in like the 30s and 40s. It was windy, so that wasn't so much fun. But I definitely did kind of have the longest endurance, I guess I should say, when it was colder out there.
I will say that for larger framed people, and Ross is a big, strong man. Seriously, that your thermodynamics are such your
Tim's
body.
trying to tell me I need to slim down a
No, I'm
little
not
bit.
saying that at all.
Oof.
There's no way that I would get in a strength contest with you, let alone that other guy you're running with.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you, but your body heat, I'm sure, cranks up there. So I really think, especially because this is 9.3 miles, that you're going to be glad it's not too warm.
And there's a course. So Tim, give me an idea. Where do you think I'm going to hit on the map here, where I'm going to start thinking, whew, I still got a long way to go?
I think because you're running with our buddy Anthony Austin, and he has particularly said, he doesn't want to sprint it this year, that probably, I hate to put negative vibes into your head. So how about if we say, hey, try to have a positive song. I don't know if you know this, Lee, but Ross can sing.
Can we hear it right now?
So here's what I'm going to do, Ross. I'm going to say these are two spots where I would say have a fun song and/or rap, because I know you're a rapper. A fun song and/or rap in your head. One is, it's a little tough because I don't have my glasses on, but there's a spot between mile 5 and 6, and that is you're coming out of San Marco. You've gone under I-95, okay? And you're on Atlantic Boulevard headed due east.
So you're right there kind of near where that says that mile 6 marker's at.
Yeah, just before there. There's a lot of us that call that the desert. For some reason, not for some reason, you're briefly out of the neighborhoods. You're just on Atlantic Boulevard. So number one, there tends to not be a lot of people. You go by Bishop Kenny. Now sometimes there are some priests and nuns there praying for you, and that's fun. Although if they're praying
very much welcomed.
If they're praying particularly vehemently, you start to wonder if you look like you're dying. Some of them are giving you last rites. But so hopefully that won't happen. But there is something about Atlantic Boulevard headed east, just before you get into St. Nicholas and all those neighborhoods, that a lot of us through the decades have called the desert. Hopefully that won't occur to you. But I'd have a pump up song there. And then I would have another one somewhere in the St. Nicholas area. You can see that little spot there where you make a bend, and right at that bend, it's a beautiful view if you're feeling good. But you're just past mile 6, but you can see the people on the bridge going over the top. So they're like happy, right? No matter how you feel, once you get to the top of the bridge, at least you're going to be heading downhill.
But in your head, you can see, like,
you're going,
that's still where I got to go.
I still got to go there. And you're thinking, oh my God, I still got 2 miles before I even get there.
Yeah.
So those two spots can be.
Okay, well, I need to know what your pump-up song is. You just said you had a pump-up song. 2, what are they?
Oh, mine or Tim's?
Ross, I want to know what your rap song is, since he says you rap. But first I'm asking Tim, and then I want to know your
Oh,
rap.
you want to know mine? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have 2,
Okay.
and I'll start with the first one. The second one, you're going to think I'm saying it just because Ross is here, but it really isn't.
Okay.
Now this song was not out. The first year I ran it was, the first year I was here in Jacksonville, I was clueless. I had no idea how big the river run was. And I can tell you that story at some point because I actually made a pretty silly forecast. But since we're just talking about music here, so in 1983 is the first year I ran it. And U2 hadn't, which is one of my favorite bands, they hadn't come out with, what's the song? Run on Streets with No Names. Okay. Y'all know that song? Anyhow, to me, it's one of the classics of all time. So that now goes through my head when, actually in the morning. In fact, I can drive my wife crazy because as much as she's an Energizer bunny, she sort of gradually wakes up. Whereas River Run morning, I've been known at 5:15 to have U2 having my favorite run song on, just cranked up, and we're going to go in separate cars. But here's my second one. And my second one, and I told Ross about this yesterday. It used to be, so it's going to be interesting they have it this year. It used to be there'd be a band at the foot of the Hart Bridge. So as you're starting to go up it, okay, which was always great. Lately, it hasn't always been a band. They've had big boom boxes, or whatever y'all call them now. But you've always heard Rocky. Mm-hmm. Rocky Strong Now. I mean, I just think that is a classic running song. So I'm kind of hoping that'll be there this year.
Well, it fits perfectly in like the training montage, right?
Yes,
in Rocky
yes.
too, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
When Rocky gets the end. I would say mine, my rap song would be, because I'm a Philly guy, big Eagles fan. So Meek Mill, I'm a fan of his. So Dreams and Nightmares would kind of be my rap song. My other song I probably have a mix of some like punk pop and like EDM kind of, just something.
Okay.
Now, are you going to have stuff in your ear?
I think I'm going to run with one headphone. That way I can hear Anthony huffing and puffing beside me as we run.
Lament.
Well,
Why did we decide to do this?
You said, a lot of people like talk while they're running.
Yeah.
And Anthony and I both said like, there will be no talking while we run. As we stop and walk short distances, we will talk a little bit, but that's about it.
That's good. It's good.
There's going to be a lot of just waving to each other or like, no, cut it off. You got to take a break.
Good. It's good you guys had that strategy beforehand, because I've been in runs with friends where we hadn't really talked about how we're going to do it. And in my opinion, especially if you're not having a good run, there's nothing worse than having a friend that's irritating you.
Yeah.
And they're right there in your ear for 9.3 miles.
All right, well, I know we've gone on a very long tangent here. We'll steer the race back towards the weather. The rest of your Saturday is going to be looking pretty good by the afternoon. So after the race, mid-70s, still lots of sun throughout the day. We'll have a very weak, kind of just northerly, I'd say cool front sort of come on in. So a little bit of a change in wind direction and just kind of a brief cool down for your Sunday, but still pretty nice for the most part. No rain expected there throughout the entire weekend. And I did just toss this in because this is 1 week from Sunday.
That's amazing.
We spring forward. Kind of hard to believe. Daylight saving time begins.
And I know a lot of people like it, but
yeah, I see. You don't like it because of the sunrise, right?
It gets dark, and I feel for all those kids going to school in the dark. But that's just me.
Yeah, but then you can feel for us and how when we get off work, we'll actually have some sunlight
Yeah,
outside
there
of
you
the
go.
building.
That's true. I know. That's a very good point. In fact, I've been told that's why Daly's really starts their outdoor season about now, not only because of temperatures, but because just the whole psychological aspect of you're going to a concert and there's still
some
kind of
daylight out and stuff. Yeah. So there's just kind of a quick rundown of the sunrise and sunset times over the
moving
next 4
fast
weeks
now.
after that.
Man,
so
it's moving fast. Wow.
Spring will be quickly upon us here before we know it. So there's kind of the rest of the week and the weekend. Tim, you and I always talk about this every day, just a talking point over the next 7 to 8 days of when could be our next weather maker,
next storm
system.
Lee, did you hear Andy get excited?
No.
So
He gets giddy back here.
Andy's
for
the
it,
one
yeah.
behind the curtain. And man, he loves to hear about the next weather maker. And in fact,
Laughing and everything.
if you combine the next weather maker with when it's going to start becoming unstable aloft,
Woo, I was just going to say, you get that moisture aloft, all that rising air up there.
it's almost too much to take.
I have entered a very personal space between you two.
Well, so we're eyeing up kind of next Wednesday, next Thursday, right, guys?
Yeah.
About I think we'll see kind of some prefrontal stuff with a warm front that moves in kind of like late Tuesday throughout Wednesday, and then really Wednesday night and into next Thursday is when the main front rolls in. I think we'll see a better chance for some widespread rain. Maybe
So let's
even some
have some
thunderstorms as well.
discussion here. If because I suspect this is going to be adjusted, but if we were to say, okay, but when will for the Jackson Metro, what time will we get? Maybe we call our 2 to 3 hour squall with this front if we get it. The latest stuff I'm looking at, I'm thinking maybe 9 to midnight. What do y'all think on Wednesday night? I'm wondering if that's too early, but I've been, because of the latest European stuff, I've been sort of thinking 9 to midnight. What are you guys thinking?
You want me to go first or Lee?
Go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a little bit later than that, maybe a little bit closer to sunrise on Thursday morning, but it does look like it's going to be much more of a post-sunset, before sunrise event between Wednesday and Thursday.
Lee?
So, I kept it a bit more generic because it was several days out, but I at least at noon today and earlier I said overnight for showers, but I will say I was going to have a meeting on Wednesday evening, and I said let's just push it back to Thursday evening just because of the rain. People are going to be driving in for it, and what if I have to be here for that? So I'm already taking precautions in case it speeds up a little bit, but if I am to be put on the spot for a time, I would say more of those overnight hours, maybe a little bit later than what you said, Tim, but it could change.
Great point. Yeah, we'll keep people updated. Hey, we should probably wrap this up, Ross, because you know who I just saw walk in here?
Mr. Anthony Austin. He just
Mr.
came
Anthony
in
Austin.
from a training session, I think.
Wow. So
Anthony.
there's probably,
Yeah,
here
come
he
on in
comes.
We were just talking about you.
We
Yeah,
call
there
him
he is.
Mr.
Hey.
Important. Mr. Important has just walked into
I
the.
don't know, not that important.
We were discussing how far we think we're going to make it in the river run.
He was discussing your aerobic strategy.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 miles.
Actually, we were talking yesterday. He wants to make sure he's properly stretched out for this.
That's right.
So Andy and I are going to help him afterwards, make sure he's completely.
Did you say afterwards?
No. After this stream.
Oh,
right
gotcha.
now.
You're gonna start
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And continue through
Couple
Saturday
days.
morning.
Start
I get it.
early.
Wrap the stream.
I get it.
Alrighty. Well, beautiful week ahead here. We'll have more for you coming up over the next couple of
Lee,
days.
thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks
Yes.
for having me.
So much better with Lee.
That is
Nothing against you,
meteorologist.
Ross.
All I did
No.
was yap. Sorry, I took us off topic several times. Don't worry, I won't be here tomorrow. I'm off work, so we'll keep it on schedule tomorrow.
All right. Take care, guys.